Now, this evil racist ideology has led liberals like AOC to blame Republicans for the radicalization and racist ideology of this killer, who claims he was radicalized and inspired by the internet. But this narrative is a filthy lie. There is no white supremacy inherent to the conservative agenda. That is a despicable and false accusation fabricated by the left to demonize Republicans. This kind of lie should be below even ignorant, controlling politicians like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I don't know any Republican who doesn't join me in condemning the abject evil of this man's massacre and of the evil ideology of believing one race of people are subhuman or inferior to another. We conservatives stand for equal rights and equal justice for all people, regardless of their race, or their religion, or their skin color, or their gender, or any other immutable characteristic. It's in moments of tragedy or emergency like this that people's true colors shine through. And we can see the true colors of the left as they cherry-pick pieces of this terrorist manifesto and present small parts or incomplete quotes as a way to try to blame this horrific mass murder on American conservatives. Well, that's what we're going to debunk tonight. I wish I hadn't had to read this manifesto. It's disturbing. It's the personification of evil. But thanks to the left, I had to read it in its entirety to see the truth. And I'm going to share that truth tonight with you. This terrorist was a white supremacist. He believed immigrants and minorities and Muslims were invaders who destroyed his vision of a superior race. He said he admired President Trump, and that part you certainly will hear from the mainstream media. But the part you won't hear is the killer said he admired Trump based on false accusations that Trump is a symbol of white identity. The killer then specifically said he did not admire Trump as a policymaker or leader. In fact, the killer writes that he hates conservatives. He blames corporate capitalism for the melting pot of America. He demonizes American individualism because he claims if you embrace the individual, you can't be racist like he is. He writes that he wants collective ownership of the means of production, which is socialism, as long as the collective owners are white. He writes that the nation with the closest political and social values to his own is the People's Republic of China, a communist nation. Furthermore, the mainstream media had cherry-picked one line of this terrorist manifesto where the killer claims to be inspired by conservative commentator Candace Owens, and that is BS. The shooter writes he wants a white ethno-state. He writes that he hates conservatives, but he's inspired by a black conservative like Candace Owens, who has never called for violence. I do not buy it. He's trolling to trick liberals into doing exactly what they're doing, attacking conservatives and dividing America. In fact, the terrorist writes that this is his goal, to create chaos and spark an American civil war. He writes that of the various types of weapons he could have chosen for his attack, he picked firearms specifically because anti-Second Amendment activists in America would ensure his crime got media attention. He says he hopes this makes anti-Second Amendment activists try to abolish the Second Amendment to rip the country apart and start a civil war. And you know what? Liberals swallowed part of his media strategy hook, line, and sinker, and we have proof. Because in January, 20 Catholics were killed in a bombing of their church by radical Islamists, and the media barely touched it. 32 Nigerian Christians were also killed by radical Islamists recently who torched their church, and the mainstream media barely touched that either. But when the killer uses a firearm, the American mainstream media jumps to use that story to their political advantage. So my prayers tonight, despite the fact that AOC says our prayers don't matter, my prayers tonight are with the families of the victims, the whole country of New Zealand, and people of faith, everywhere, who should not fear for their safety inside their house of worship. I pray for peace and comfort and the grace of God to fill all those who mourn. And I pray for our nation to rise above the antagonism of this terrorist and give him a response that defeats what he wants, instead of the divide and war, unity and peace.